My family made me sleep on the floor during our family vacation. Now they're mad I left early and refused to come back when a physical fight broke out amongst the in-laws. Hi Reddit. I need to vent. I've just experienced one hell of a week. It was an actual dumpster fire roasting in the Carolina sun, and I need to know if I was wrong. Let me explain. My name is Amanda and I'm 29 years old. I'm the eldest daughter in what I can only describe as a borderline dysfunctional, delusionally traditional family. My parents have always treated me like the unpaid help rather than a member of the family. If there's a mess, I clean it. If someone needs to be picked up from the airport, I go. Birthday cake for someone else? I bake it. Emotional support? Yeah. But actual support for me? Don't hold your breath. I have two siblings, Ben, 27M, and Kelsey, 24F. They are my parents' favorites. Ben's the successful oldest boy. He works in some vague business job no one really understands. Kelsey's the baby, our parents' angel girl. She's always been able to do no wrong even while doing, well, a lot of wrong. They're both married. Ben to Vanessa, and Kelsey to Logan. So when my parents insisted on a family bonding vacation to a beach house in South Carolina, I didn't want to go. I felt like it would be a lot of couple bonding and I, newly single, would just be the odd one out. I work full-time at a nonprofit, I live alone, and barely have any paid time off. I had the exact dates off that my mother wanted to go, but I was planning a quiet week to myself. I figured maybe I could finally sleep in or reorganize my closet. But then came the guilt trip barrage from my family. It's been years since we were all together, my mom said on speakerphone while I was working late one night. You know you'll regret it if you don't come. It's only a week. Don't be selfish, your dad's been looking forward to this. The family's not complete without you. Ugh. Eventually, I relented. I really shouldn't have, but story of my life. Fast forward to the day of the trip. We all came to the conclusion that we would need a rental car to get around while there. It would be cheaper than Ubering everywhere. Unfortunately, all of the car rental agencies around the home we booked didn't have any availability. So being the good daughter, I volunteered to get one at home in Florida and drive to South Carolina. Everyone else would fly in. To be honest, I didn't really mind. I have an irrational fear of flying and I figured the long drive would be therapeutic. It wasn't. The weather was terrible the entire trip. After a grueling 9-hour solo drive, I finally pulled into the gravel driveway of the house they'd picked. It was actually a nice place, I'll admit. Big wraparound porch, huge front yard, seafoam green painted siding, and I could see the ocean in the distance. I smiled a little. Maybe it wouldn't be that bad. I stepped into the chaos of shrieking kids. Ben and Vanessa have two kids 6 and 8, a barking dog, and everyone yelling over each other. My dad barely looked up from his beer. My mom greeted me like a distant cousin. Kelsey was already wearing a bikini and lounging with a drink. Oh good, you're here, my mom called from the kitchen. We were worried you'd flake out. That should have been my cue to rethink this vacation, but I ignored her. I dropped my bags in the foyer exhausted. I wasn't really in the mood for pleasantries. I just wanted to wind down and maybe take a nap. So, where am I sleeping? I asked, stretching my back and looking around the room. My mom looked at me like I asked her where the moon lived. Oh. We figured you wouldn't mind the living room. We left a yoga mat for you, it's memory foam. And there's a throw blanket in the hall closet. I blinked. I'm sorry, what? She turned back to the sink, avoiding my eyes. The bedrooms are claimed already. You're the only one not part of a couple. It just made sense. For a moment I was too stunned to respond, but then I snapped out of it. What the hell, Mom? You knew I was coming, why would you get a place with just 3 rooms? I gave you $900 for this place and I don't even get a bed? I asked incredulously. It was a small oversight, honey. Don't make this a big thing. I'm not sleeping on the floor, mother. I turned away from her and plopped down on the couch. I took out my phone to find other accommodations. After about an hour of searching, I almost broke down in tears. Everything was booked within 100 miles. It was a holiday weekend. I had little choice. I had to make a bed on the mat. I thought about the couch, but it was one of those cheap contemporary-styled couches, mostly wood with thin cushions. It didn't look comfortable, so I had no choice but to use the mat. The rest of the evening, I just stared into space, wondering why I even bothered to come, while everyone else milled around excitingly chatting about itineraries. Eventually, it was time for bed. I reluctantly made a pallet on the floor and tried to sleep. I was miserable the entire night. I had no privacy. No bed. No fan. No AC vent. And, the cherry on top, the family dog was crated right next to the yoga mat. He barked at shadows until 3 a.m. He also farted every 10 minutes. I'm not exaggerating. I slept maybe 45 minutes that night. If you can call tossing and turning on a glorified mat sleep. I woke up the next morning with a crick in my neck and sweat plastering my tank top to my back. The rest of the family? They were asleep in their air-conditioned suites, curled up with real pillows and actual mattresses. I decided to make breakfast, because if I didn't, no one would eat before noon. I fried some eggs, toasted bagels, cut fruit, and even made fresh coffee. No one said thank you. In fact, Ben walked in, grunted, and grabbed 2 bagels like he was at a drive-thru. Later, when I went to shower, I found my brand new razor sitting crusty and bent in the sink. I stormed into the kitchen. Who used my razor? Kelsey, not even glancing up from her phone, said, "Oh, that was me. Mine was dull." You don't mind, right? I do, actually. She rolled her eyes. Geez, it's not like I broke it. Chill. The entitlement was palpable. That afternoon, we packed up to go to the beach. Or, I should say, I packed up. Everyone acted like I was the event staff barking out orders from all directions. Can you carry the cooler? Grab an extra umbrella, Mandy. Where's the sunblock? Don't forget Logan's speaker. By the time I hauled everything down the dune path, I was dripping with sweat. Meanwhile, Kelsey was already posting bikini selfies and Ben was face down in a beer. Once we got to the beach and set up our area, I noticed that the adults started to conspicuously disappear one by one. I'll be right back, heading to the restroom. I forgot the sunscreen in the car. I gotta go get it. Do you mind watching the kids? I'm gonna go get a bottle of water from that store over there. Spoiler alert, none of them ever came back. I tried calling, but my calls and messages were annoyed. I should have saw this coming. And that's how I was stuck babysitting the kids. I spent the day stopping the kids from kicking sand everywhere, especially onto other people's towels, snacks, or faces. Stopping them from throwing sand aimlessly. Refereeing their fights with each other. And thwarting them from digging through my stuff without permission and asking way too many personal questions. It truly astonished me how little manners my niece and nephew had. After about 5 hours later, the group came back together, laughing and smiling without a care in the world. I got up, arms crossed, eyes blazing. Where the hell were you guys? My mom's head snapped towards me. Her smile dropping. Watch your tone, Amanda, we haven't been gone that long. Besides, we're on vacation, who cares about time? It's been 5 hours, I shrieked. I saw Ben roll his eyes. He muttered something under his breath that sounded like Buzz Killington. Really? Vanessa looked down at her smart watch, then shrugged. Time flies when you're having fun, I guess. Where were you? I asked through gritted teeth. This time Kelsey perked up. Oh, we found this really nice resort about a block away. And you couldn't have told me about the resort, I snapped. It was adults only, so someone needed to watch kids. We figured you wouldn't mind. Kelsey moved past me into one of the loungers, effectively deading the conversation. The rest of the group ignored me and settled down as well. In that moment, I was tempted to just leave. Right when I was just going to turn away, my niece called out to me. Auntie Mandy, can you show me how to make a sandcastle? I sighed and rubbed my face as if the action would get rid of my anger, then proceeded to help her carry her buckets to the water. I could never say no to her. We were there for maybe another 30 minutes before my dad declared he wanted to go home because there was too much sand. Everyone began to get up, dusting themselves off and gathering their things. I clamped down my annoyance. They had me lug all this stuff out here by myself just to use it for a half an hour. I needed a break. Now. I walked off before I got corralled into being their mule again. No one noticed when I left. I went to this small tiki shack on the boardwalk. I had noticed earlier, people coming out with delicious-looking smoothies. My absolute favorite treat, and I could use a pick-me-up. When I walked in, the blast of AC instantly tempered my ire. I let a couple of elderly patrons go in front of me. When I got to the cashier, I made sure to take my sweet time picking my flavor. Once I got my drink, I sat down at one of the cute seashell-shaped booths. My mind momentarily turned to my family, but I instantly shoved it away. They'll be fine for a bit. I had the keys, they couldn't leave without me. I scrolled away on my phone, ignoring the texts and calls when they popped up, enjoying my berry blast banana smoothie. I didn't make them wait for too long. I was only gone for maybe 50 minutes. When I arrived at the car, they all looked annoyed, sweaty, and miserable. I didn't say a word, didn't help with the gear, I just got into the driver's seat and shut the door. When we got back to the vacation home, everyone continued to ignore me. At least until they realized a whole hour had gone by and no one had criticized me about something, or given me any unsolicited advice about my weight, love life, or any of my life choices. As a group, we decided to have a little barbecue. We had groceries delivered the previous day and had everything we needed. The ladies headed to the kitchen to make the sides and the fellas went to the grill with meat and dry rubs. Some people say that the act of cooking can be very peaceful, almost a tranquil experience. Well, not when I'm surrounded by my condescending family. The entire time we prepared the dishes, all I heard was, "You know, Amanda, at your age, you really can't afford to be choosy about a partner." Or, "I'm just saying, it might be time to get a real job. Your brother owns a house already, and he's younger than you." And my favorite jab, "It's not healthy to love yourself too much at any size. Have you thought about intermittent fasting?" It worked for my coworker's dog. I tried to stay civil. I gritted my teeth so hard I think I cracked a tooth. In response to their probing, I either gave them muttered neutral grunts or kept silent. After I finished with the potato salad, I just couldn't take it anymore. I excused myself, grabbed a pitcher of hard iced tea out of the fridge, grabbed a tall glass, and went out to sit on the porch. The sun was setting directly in front of me, and for the first time since arriving I felt at peace. My peace lasted for about 5 minutes, broken when the front door swung open. It was my brother-in-law Logan, looking extremely contrite. He looked down at me and awkwardly rubbing the back of his neck. "Hey Mandy, I didn't mean to disturb your moment, I just wanted to let you know I'm sorry about earlier. We shouldn't have left you with the kids like that. Kelsey said she had already ran it by you, but by the pissed-off look on your face when we got back, I guess she didn't." I smiled a little. "It's fine, Logan. I'm used to it." "Yeah," he muttered. His gaze then wandered to the sunset and a look I couldn't quite place came across his face. He looked back to me. "Do you mind if I sit out here with you for a while? I kinda need a break from." He waved his hand at the house and finished. "Our family. Pull up a chair, Logan." He sat down next to me. We sat in a comfortable silence watching the sunset until it was completely gone. As if on K, I heard Kelsey call out for Logan. Logan rolled his eyes but answered. "We're out here." "We?" I heard her reply. Not 2 seconds later my sister burst through the door. She looked between the two of us innocently sitting there. Her eyes clouded with suspicion and jealousy. "What are you doing out here with her?" she asked, eyes narrowed. Logan sighed and got up. "Nothing, Kelsey, we were just relaxing." "You can relax in here. With me." Logan followed her in like a chastised puppy. Kelsey looked at me one final time. "You can't keep a man, so you go after mine," she snapped. "Really, Kelsey?" Nothing was going. She went inside and slammed the door before I could finish what I was gonna say. Just great, I thought. More bullshit to field. That night sealed the deal on my decision to leave. Around 3 a.m., I woke up to the dog licking my face. Full tongue contact on my lips. I nearly screamed. And that wasn't all. Logan was snoring loudly from the other side of the room. Apparently, he and Kelsey had a fight, and he decided the communal floor was a better option than dealing with her. So I had to share my already miserable floor space with a drunk snoring man and a flatulent dog. Nope, no more. I needed proper sleep and quite frankly, I didn't want to be in this toxic hellhole anymore. I didn't even wait until the sun came up. At 4 a.m., I packed my things, folded the yoga mat, and left a crisp $20 bill on the counter with a note. "This is repayment for the gas you put in the car. Don't contact me unless it's an emergency." I drove for almost 2 hours before I finally found a place with vacancies. A nice quiet hotel with a 24-hour front desk. I paid extra to get them to disregard the normal check-in time. I was handed my key and I walked to my room. For the first time in 48 hours, I got a proper shower, real sleep, and room service that didn't insult me. I turned my phone on silent and slept like the dead. 2 days later, I woke up to 14 missed calls and a barrage of texts. They weren't angry messages about me leaving, they were panicked messages. More than one said, "This is an emergency pickup. We need you right now, something has happened." The last message just 2 minutes ago. I immediately sat up in bed. Fear crept down my spine and my heart started to pound in my chest. Something was wrong. Just when I was about to make a call to my mother, a FaceTime request popped up from my sister-in-law Vanessa. I quickly answered it. What greeted me looked like a Maury segment. Vanessa was crying, full-blown mascara streaks down her face. Behind her, I could hear screaming. Glass breaking. A man yelling. A woman wailing. "You are not going to believe this, Amanda," Vanessa sobbed. "I just caught Ben making out with Logan on the back deck. Like tongue, hands, everything. I thought they were wrestling or something, but I'm not stupid." This was definitely not what I expected. I struggled to find a response. She continued. Apparently, she'd stepped out for a cigarette and caught them mid-grope. She screamed. Kelsey came running, she saw Logan and Ben, and lost her mind as well. But she upped the ante. She didn't just scream. She started throwing ceramic plates at the sliding glass door and at our brother and her husband. One hit Logan in the arm. Ben and Logan tried to gaslight them. It was a joke. We were just drunk. I thought he was you. You're being dramatic. My mom started praying out loud. My dad tried to separate them but ended up grabbing Logan's arm. Logan, still half drunk, swung on him. My dad punched back. Someone slipped on a spilled Coke and hit the kitchen island. Vanessa swung the camera and showed me the blood on the tile. Finally, the neighbors called the cops. After finishing the recap, her real reason for calling me came out. They wanted me to come back and mediate. My mother got on the call. "You're the most level-headed," my mom pleaded. You're not involved. You can fix this. I laughed so hard I nearly dropped the phone. You made me sleep on the floor next to a farting dog. You ditched me for hours to babysit while you had the time of your lives at a fancy resort. You've insulted everything from my hair to the inadequacy of my life choices since the moment I arrived, and now I'm supposed to play therapist for our dysfunctional family? I said no. In fact, I said a lot of things. I'm not your emotional support punching bag. I'm done playing martyr so the rest of you can pretend your lives aren't on fire. Then I hung up. She immediately tried calling back, but I ignored it. I decided the next day to drive back home. The hotel was nice, but I was getting kinda bored. There wasn't much to do but pig out and watch TV. 2 days later, I learned from Facebook that the family had all come home and now had brought the drama online. My dad posted a picture of his black swollen eye. He talked about suing for assault and that our generation had no respect for the elderly. My mom proclaimed in a Facebook post that she wasn't speaking to Kelsey until she paid her back for the damages she caused to the vacation house. Apparently after the cops were called, the owner of the property was somehow notified. He was none too happy with the destruction of his home. He informed my mom, who was the name on the booking, that he will be charging her card for the repairs and cleanup. I checked my brother's page and he was in full damage control, claiming what happened with Logan was just a drunken mistake, over and over. Kelsey dumped Logan. Logan got arrested for throwing a patio chair at the cops during the fight. No one is talking. No one is healing. And now they're furious with me, for abandoning the family when they needed me most. I don't regret leaving Reader. Not one bit. Update. Quick recap, my family made me sleep on the floor during our family vacation. Now they're mad I left early and refused to come back when family drama arose. Hey Reddit. It's been a while. Remember me? The unpaid emotional support mule who was made to sleep on a yoga mat next to a farting dog and a cheating brother-in-law, and then got guilt-tripped for leaving the family vacation early? Yeah. Hi again and buckle up. It's been 3 months since the beach house exploded into chaos and I pieced the hell out. I thought that was the end of it. I thought I could go back to my quiet little life and leave them to scream into the void. Of course I was wrong. Here's what's happened since. About a week after I got home, I got added to a brand new group chat called Family Reset. I ignored it. Then my phone started blowing up with messages. We need to talk this through like adults, Amanda. It's time we all took accountability. You running off like that was really hurtful to us. I scoffed in disbelief. I didn't need to take accountability for a damn thing. This was their mess, and I was just there to watch the show and eat my popcorn. That's it. I sent a single meme to the group chat. It was the one where the little girl is smirking in front of a burning building and captioned it with, "Me and my family." I was removed from the chat within the hour. The only one I still kind of talk to is Vanessa. She and I used to be really close before and I kind of had a soft spot for her. She was the only one that ever attempted to stick up for me from time to time. She has moved in with her sister and is getting her ducks in a row for the divorce. But here's the kicker. Apparently, Ben and Logan weren't drunk experimenters. Vanessa found messages. A whole hidden folder in Ben's iCloud full of selfies, videos, and screenshots of flirty conversations with Logan going back 8 months. One photo was from my dad's birthday dinner, Logan and Ben in a bathroom mirror, shirtless, both grinning. And it was time-stamped for the same night Ben's youngest had the flu and Vanessa was at home nursing him back to health. She confronted Ben with the proof. His defense? You never really understood me. Classic. Kelsey has started a podcast. Yes, Kelsey, my younger sister and former razor thief, started a podcast called Untangling the Lie. The first episode was titled, "My Husband Was in Love with My Brother." I nearly choked on my tea. She painted herself as a tragic romantic heroine and Vanessa as emotionally manipulative. She even included me in it. She said I was the judgy, bitter sister who always thought she was better than the rest of the family and how I abandoned her in her time of need. It got 42 downloads. One of them was me. I listened out of morbid curiosity and ended up laughing so hard I cried. She even fake cried during the episodes. Like full sniffle with dramatic sighs. What a load of BS. Last weekend, my mom invited me to a low-key family dinner to clear the air. I said I'd come if it was just my parents. Another spoiler alert, it wasn't. I walked in and saw Ben, Kelsey, Logan, I guess he and Kelsey are on good terms now, and my dad all crowded around a plate of bratwursts like nothing ever happened. Vanessa was, of course, not there. No one told her this family dinner was happening. I stopped in my tracks when I saw them. I knew what this was. An ambush. I calmly turned on my heels to leave. My mom followed me out onto the porch. She said, and I quote, "If you had just stayed at the house, maybe none of this would have escalated." I laughed. "You're blaming me for the rest of you imploding?" I left so I didn't end up in jail. Way too many people were in that house with reckless mouths and no sense. She sniffed and said I was being selfish. So I said the quiet part out loud. "You didn't want me there as a daughter. You wanted me there as a babysitter, a therapist, and a scapegoat. I'm not coming back to be your emotional janitor every time the rest of you crap all over your lives." Then I walked off that porch, got in my car and haven't answered a single call since. Where things stand now. Ben is seeing someone new, who suspiciously looks like Logan with a wig. Kelsey's podcast now has 11 one-star reviews and someone commented, "You need therapy, not a microphone." My mom sent me a letter, yes, an actual letter in the mail, saying she was disappointed in how cold and cruel I've become. I'm thinking about framing it. I booked a solo trip to Iceland for next month. Real bed. No dogs. No yoga mats. No emotional parasites. The works. And that is my story Reddit. Quite the roller coaster ride. Reader, I'm not here to lecture you, but if you take one thing from my story, take this. It is okay to separate yourself from toxicity for your own peace of mind. Sometimes you got to let pythons be pythons, if you catch my drift. Thanks for reading.